This is Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories. I'm here today with Deanna Carr with the Mystical Moonlight. Hey, Deanna, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing great, and our surprise topic for today is the moon. So I
Ooh.
was wondering if you could answer the question whether or not the moon was inside our now etheric dome over our district or outside the dome.
Well, it depends on which moon you're talking about. One is on the inside and one is on the outside.
Oh, okay. Which one is on the inside?
The one that is not the original moon.
Okay.
So the one on the inside would be the built one, the mechanical one. Now, it still has energy purposes of a real moon, but as most of you probably have seen, the moon changes. The
Yes.
moon sometimes is large and sometimes close, and other times it seems very far and distant away. And that's the reason is we're looking at two different moons. Now, one is in our dome, while the other one sits closely to the outside of the dome.
Okay. What's the one on the outside of the dome?
The original.
Okay, would that be the one that's like we'll call it the Ark that's like kind of like the Death Star in Star Wars?
Yes.
Okay. And that's hollow inside and there are inhabitants there. We've talked about
Yeah.
it a little bit before.
Yes.
Okay. So that one we know is being used for slave labor. They're mining it. They're doing all sorts of stuff there, which we'd like to know more about, right?
hmm
So clarify again, what is the one inside the energetic dome? Like what's that one made of? Or
No,
why?
I'm sorry, the one on the inside is the Star Wars Lake Dome, the
Oh,
Darth Star.
okay.
That is the one that they have built that replicates the actual moon. It still does give off some purposes of having it, but the real moon is on the outside. The real moon was well, it wasn't created. It was, put there for a purpose of energy levels, and it was actually a living celestial being at one point until it was killed off.
Okay. Whoa. All
All
right.
right, sorry. Let's bring it back. Okay. So, before the dome was built, there was an original moon. The
Check.
original moon actually had life on it. It had water, it had people, but it was used to, let's say, create a game zone. What they needed was a spot where different horrible cultures would come together in the purpose of sacrificing other cultures. So they started to destroy the moon. That is why the moon is dead. There's no living plants on it that you can see, but they do have stuff on the inside. So the original moon does also have tunnels and caves inside of it. And now they use it as the game zone hoarding spot where you have different beings of different moons, planets, whatever, come together, and that is the safe haven for them. Now, they have, taken the living beings and all of that off of it. So it is an actual moon. And then you have the inside moon, which is the one that seems a little bit further away, which is very odd because you think the one outside would, look further than it is. But when you look at the moon and it's further away, it's smaller. That is actually the moon that they have created. Now, it's supposed to replicate the actual moon, but this one is mechanical, just like the Death Star. The reason it was created is because that is the one that they are actually hoarding people on. They use it as a way to keep them subjected to whatever they're doing. They can, have the supplies of bodies they need without anybody knowing. Now, we have a lot of people just missing on this planet. Just think of how many people are on that one.
Okay. Wow, you've just kind of blown my mind. Now, I've seen video where there's two or even three moons in it.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we know that there's more than one out there. Didn't expect your answer exactly the way I got it, but let's go back.
Sorry.
The moon that is, we'll call it the natural celestial body that is now dead. That's the one that's slightly outside our etheric or energetic dome now.
Yes. Yes.
How did that moon get like killed, we'll call it? How did they kill it?
So it was. kind of like what they do with most planets is they, set up shop there and then they start to take resources.
Mhm.
Once resources start to deplenish, start to run out,
Yep.
then you'll notice that the celestial being does start to die in itself. And then they just kept taking and taking. And at some point, it just was hard for it to recover. Now, once all of this is over, the being will be able to recover, but it's hard to recover when you constantly have stuff taking away. So let's say a plant started growing again, somebody was going to kill it off. So there's no way for it to come back to life, but it is trying.
Oh, okay. So basically, it had trees, it had water, it had plants, it had animals, all sorts of creatures on
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
And they were probably different than we found on Earth, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And
Now,
then,
most of the time when we talk about moons, they always make the moons to be these dead planets. Now,
right.
that's what they kind of are now, but
Yeah.
at one point in time, they were not dead, and you could actually live on it like a normal planet.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. So everyone's got that picture. So on this original celestial body moon that's outside the energetic dome, are there beings that are living on or in it at this moment?
Yes.
Okay. Are they living inside?
Yes.
Okay.
Most of them are inside because since they've killed it, there isn't necessarily ways for them to survive
Okay.
naturally,
All right.
depending on what species.
We would pretty much call these the bad guys. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Are they working are there treaties so many of the species, the bad guy species work together up there?
Yes.
Okay.
They have to have treaties. If they cancel a treaty or if they go against the treaty, then their species would be killed off.
Got it. Okay.
It has to be very elaborate for them to stay with the treaty.
Okay. Does this moon in any way orbit our Earth or our dome?
Yes, it does orbit.
It does. Is it go around the ball like what we're told, or does it go on like a flat orbit around the dome, if you will?
It goes on more of a flat orbit.
Okay.
Because if we're talking about a large orbit, you're
Yeah.
actually be going around the full world.
Yeah. And that would take a lot longer because the Earth is bigger than we've been told.
Yes. That, and then if you've also noticed, sometimes the moon is out during the day, which is odd sometimes because you feel like you just saw it at night.
Yeah.
So there are points where it just, the lap time of what they tell you versus what you see doesn't always line up.
Yeah. I've looked up in the sky before and I've seen the sun and then the moon is like an inch away from it. Like
Yeah.
theoretically, we're told that they're like on opposite ends of the planet. So we know that
Yeah.
things
All the
are just
time.
not right, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there are times it's like, okay, it's right there. Like Opal will be like, oh, I'm on the moon. It's like, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the moon that's inside the etheric dome is the arc or whatever we want to call it. Is that a man-made structure then, or a
Yes.
okay? And again, there's all what we'll call them the bad guys. They have treaties there. They've got slave labor, and they're using the humans there for basically food. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. What else do we need to know about either of these?
Um, the the dome around our Earth
Yeah,
is actually starting to fade. So you're going to notice that the original moon is going to start to come into the picture a lot more. You
yeah,
probably already have. You just see it looks a lot larger out of nowhere.
yeah.
Um, the man-made moon is actually going to start to disintegrate. They didn't, let's say, make it well, and people are actually destroying it from the inside out. So there are people on the moon that are trying to get out of their situation.
Okay,
Um, and there are people that are trying to rescue them also.
okay.
So there is stuff happening where you're going to notice that it seems off. It seems like it kind of disappears for a little bit, and it's because it's starting to fade because they can't keep control. And that's on a larger level of things that are changing in the universe in itself.
Interesting. Is there atmosphere, like, is it breathable on the surface of either one of these moons?
The fake moon, yes, they do have a surface layer around it so that people can breathe. For the original moon right now, no, but it will come back.
Check. Okay. Wow, I didn't expect really that answer. I mean, I've known there was more than one moon, but I just didn't expect the answer that we got. So I'm still processing, and of course I'll have questions next time.
Yeah.
All right, so we've been told that we went to space. I think it was 1969. We landed
Hmm.
on the moon, which we know is not correct.
Yeah.
So basically, to really get to the moon outside the energetic dome, we
Yes.
would have to use portals
Yes.
or teleportation or something like that. Are these portals natural or man-made that we've been using?
Most of them have been man-made.
Man-made. Okay, so there's different technology that we've had that have allowed us to get out of the dome and go to different places.
Yes.
Okay, where else besides that moon have we been to? Like we've been to, let's say, Mars, we've been to wherever. Have we been way out there?
There have been three locations outside of our solar system.
Oh,
Yeah. So
wow.
they can pretty much hop very easily to the ones within our solar system. It's simple to do. They
Okay.
do not necessarily need to have a portal on both sides for them to transfer.
Uh-huh.
So they do have access to kind of go and jump back. For the ones that have been a little bit longer, they kind of have been, tippy toeing on seeing what else is out there. So that's why they haven't done too many that are outside of our solar system.
Okay. Okay. Now, let's say we were going to go into one of these portals and go out of the solar system. Do we need like a spacesuit to breathe, or do we just walk into it with our clothes? How does that work?
For the most part, they do have a, let's say, uniform that they put on because they don't necessarily know what they're walking into.
Yep.
So it's just kind of guessing like, hey, I'm in the warm right now and I'm going to go to a cold planet. So it's not really smart to go in just your clothes. You don't know what type of situation you're going to walk into, what the planet has. Now, they can do research, but at the end, you still don't know what you're walking into. So for the most part, you do have some sort of bodysuit more for your protection. Once you get there, then you can, see
Right.
if it's breathable and all that.
Okay. So it's like a super suit. It keeps you hot or cold and blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Okay, check. All right,
And
now,
it's not as bulky as what they show astronauts to wear.
of
It's
course.
actually lightweight, almost like a regular, like fluffy jacket.
Okay, interesting. Now, who built these portals? Like, how old are they?
The oldest one, I'm getting 500 years.
Okay.
So that's the oldest man-made portal. Now, before that, they did have access using natural portals, but they wanted a little more control, so that's why they created the man-made portals because not understanding a portal is difficult in itself. So save the trouble, let's just make one.
Ah.
Is it easier? I don't know. I've never made a portal. So
Okay. Is there someone protecting the portal on, say, our side or both sides? I'm assuming if they're man-made, yes, the military is protecting them. Would you agree?
yeah, yes.
All right. And who built these man-made portals?
It looks like there's a group of scientists. They need at least 3 to 4 scientists specific in different fields to be able to get a portal set up
Yeah.
to run correctly.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So, this is kind of a separate but different question. Are thunder and lightning man-made or natural?
It is man-made.
Man-made, always.
Yeah, we haven't had an actual lightning storm in centuries. So they've changed the way lightning comes down. So originally, lightning would happen, it would actually go across the sky, it would never come down to the earth. Later on, they have experimented and found ways to pull the energy down to the earth. The reason being they wanted to see if they could actually use it as an energy source.
Right.
Later on, they created a way to manipulate the, electrons within the lightning
Yep.
itself.
Yep. So basically it could be used as a weapon as well, I would assume, if they can control it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So I just said that, I grouped it with this because I didn't think that they were natural. We're seeing all sorts of weather modification happening. And like,
Mhm.
especially the past couple of years, it's getting more and more intense out there.
Yeah.
And people, I think, are starting to wake up to like, this doesn't seem natural, right? Would you agree with
Yeah,
that?
I actually just saw a video the other day where
Yeah.
people are finding blue rain. Now rain is not blue. I hope people know this.
Yeah.
Um, but there are people, and I think that, social media isn't great for everything, but for one thing, ugh, flies are all around me.
Yep, yep, yep.
But for one thing, it is a way for people to show others what is happening in their area.
Right,
And like, I haven't had blue rain here, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist in a different area.
right, right.
So it's vice versa. Things that people are showing are helping people to understand that reality is not exactly what we're being told or what we're being shown. There's a lot of different modifications, and most disasters that have been happening, especially within the last 10 years, have been caused because they want more control, they want whatever's under the ground, or they want people gone.
It's a land grab. They want to kill off the population, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
They
Yep.
want people to be fearful, right?
Yep.
Right. All right. Now, you talked about blue rain. I have seen blue snow myself. Okay. So, living up in Pennsylvania, we'd have a snow day, which was always fun. And I used to go walking, rain, snow, whatever. And I went down to the lake at the bottom of the hill where I walked. It was frozen and I walked on the snow. And as I pushed it down, the snow literally turned blue. Like it looked like antifreeze blue, right?
Hmm.
And I actually looked at it quite closely after I noticed that. And then around that same time, so this would have been maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I'd be in my car, and you know what a snowflake looks like. Okay, they're beautiful, they're lacy, but they're circular, right?
Hmm.
Well, instead of circular things falling and then breaking up when they hit your windshield, I would see something that would look like a stick and like a little, like a pitchfork almost. That was the way the crystal froze. So it
Hmm.
wasn't a round, beautiful snowflake. It was something demented looking,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
And
made.
I've seen that more than once. So that is man-made rain or snow.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, okay. So anything else we should know at this exact moment about the either moon, lightning, thunder, or whatever we've talked about?
No, I think we've covered it. I
Okay.
mean, if people have questions, put them in the comments and we'll be happy to answer them.
Yep. We'll do a Q&A and we'll answer those questions. But for someone that doesn't know what we're talking about, the dome or whatever, we've done 2 videos on what we call the game zone.
Mhm.
Really interesting stuff. So go back and watch those, okay?
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Deanna. Appreciate your time.
of course.
Bye-bye.
Bye.